What is going on? A bittersweet day. All right, cut down day was today at 4 p.m. The Bills had to trim their roster down to 53 people, 53 players. You know, you hate to see a lot of people go, but it also tells you the actual regular season is right in front of us. So tonight we got a lot of topics lined up. We got my co-host in the building, me James Mallory. Before I go to, let me not be rude. James, what's going on? What's going on?
What's going on, man? What's going on, man? Cut day, cut day, cut day. So a lot of exciting things happening, but bad for the people who on the chopping block. But in regards to fans, just a lot of action happening. You
Mm-hmm.
can smell football season in the air. So we're gonna talk that talk today, JT.
Absolutely. So tonight on the docket, we got for you. We're going to talk about obviously Boogie Basham traded to New York Giants today. We actually want to talk about his development and did the Bills play a part in him not developing the way he possibly should. Um, Another question is obviously there was a report that came out that they said that the Bills not only received offers of Basham but AJ Epinesa as well. So we said a couple weeks ago that one of them was probably going to end up going, and obviously it ended up being Basham. We're going to talk about was there any surprises for the 53 man roster, any more moves we see, and then we'll talk about who's available because obviously more everybody had to cut down today. There's some guys who are available still via trade. There's going to be some guys that are available free agency wise. The Bills did sign Jermaine Ifedi tonight. We'll talk about that. And the last thing I think we'll talk about is so far the rookie receiver Shorter making this roster with Andy Isabella, who's quickly becoming a fan favorite. But we got a good show lined up for you guys, and we'll talk about that when we come right back. All right. Let's get this show started. So today was cut day. The Bills shut the roster down to 53 players. I don't think, for me, there wasn't many surprises today. James, did anything come off as a surprise off the Bills roster or roster trimming? Roster, yeah, what any surprises? What'd you have?
For me, it was really no real surprises. Couple things where I thought could have happened. I thought AJ Klein could have probably made the 53. I thought they might have kept him and then got rid of Dotson. I thought that was a possibility, but it wasn't like something I was like it's definitely going to happen, right? And
Yeah.
Shorter, I'm not a Shorter guy. Um, I think we could have moved on. In regards to the 53, put him on the practice squad. I do get why they did keep him. I'm not totally against it. Um, but it really was really no surprises for me. Um, with the signing of the new lineman we have, Questenberry at first, I'm like, wow, they letting him go for depth and being that swing tackle.
Right.
But I get it now after the signing that we made. So all of it kind of made sense for me.
Right. And like I said, John puts as they put Short on IR, but that's not officially the season long IR right now. That's just a 4 week IR designation. So we're gonna
Mhm.
see what happens with that when he comes off of it. I don't personally think that Justin Short is a guy that the Bills are going to be able to stash on the practice squad. I think you're either going to keep him on the roster or you're just going to risk losing him. This is not going to be an Isaiah Hodgins situations. And the reason I say that is Justin Shorter has elite athleticism. and that's the main thing that separates him, in my opinion, and what we did with Isaiah Hodgins for multiple seasons. Obviously, we see that it's paying dividends for the Giants right now, having Hodgins and starting him. But I don't think you're going to be able to do that with Shorter because I mean this guy's 6'4", 6'3", 6'4", 215, 220 pounds, and he's running almost a 4.4 fully fat. So at the end of the day, I just think that there's always going to be some team willing to take a flyer on that type of athleticism, whether it works out or not. I'm not saying that it will or it won't, but there's always going to be a team looking to pluck somebody off the practice squad with those type of traits, if you want to say call it. You know,
Yeah. See, my thing with that is it's always a red flag to me when you have somebody with that type of talent, that type of size, that type of speed, that type of athleticism, right?
uh-huh.
Who didn't ball out in college? That's red flags all day to me. Um, it's something not right. If I mean, even if he had one really good year, I don't think he had 1,000 yards in his college career.
I can
That
tell you
raises
that.
red flags to me, man. That's just me personally. So we'll see. Not gonna hold my breath on that one. Like Isaiah Hodges had really, really high production at Oregon State. Very, very productive player at Oregon State.
Right.
Shorter was not productive at Florida. So when people try to compare the two, I don't think there is. I mean, he Isaiah proved that he was a baller. Shorter, he potentially could be. I mean, very high ceiling, but we got to wait to see.
Well, I mean, I'm looking up his stats at Florida right now. His best season was his senior season, which was last year. I guess his fifth year, because he started at Penn State. But he had 9 games and 29 receptions, 577 yards, about 20 yards to catch. So that goes to show off the athleticism. But like you say, it didn't match up to what Isaiah Hodgins did in college. But end of the day, once again, I always say it, and I continue to say it. The NFL is a very egotistical game. What I mean by that, you have egotistical coaches that say, "Hey, I can take this guy and mold him." So I don't. I think unless you're gonna stash Justin Shorter on the IR for the complete season somehow, some way, you're gonna have to keep him on this active roster, or someone's gonna pluck him off. Period.
I agree. I agree.
So we're gonna see what happens. We're gonna see what happens with that. Um, Andy Isabella did not make this roster so far. I think, like I said, I think there's still more changes to come. That was a guy you were kind of high on, and we were talking before the show began. Like, well, what's the plan for kick return now? Now,
Yeah.
mind you, Isabella didn't wow us during preseason with his kick return ability, but I'm looking at this and I don't see anybody really in this roster. I don't know if you want to put Hardy back there on kick return. He's kind of valuable to your offense to be in that position. But what are we doing at kick return if Andy Isabella is not on his roster at this point in time?
I don't know. I really don't know, JT. Um, I mean, do you put Damon Harris back there? I mean, do you? Yeah, I really don't know, JT. I think Isabella may end up coming back.
Yeah.
Um, I really, that is very, very interesting to me. What the heck are we going to do at kick returner? I really don't know right now. I really don't know.
At this point in time, I think you almost have to trade for one. I was going through some of the cut day trackers today through multiple teams and trying to see like, hey, is there a kick returner available? And obviously, if you're going to bring somebody that's going to be the same level as Isabella, you would never cut him in the first place. I don't really see, I don't really see one available as far as kick return goes. I know some people say Shakir, but Shakir's not a natural returner. I mean, I think one of the reasons we went and traded for Naeem Hines was like you said before all last year, a natural returner who can make plays. I,
Yep.
I don't know at this point in time. I think you're gonna have to try to make a move or trade for somebody. I don't know if one's available or not. I didn't see any names on the list that stuck out to me.
Nah, it really didn't. That's why I thought Ty Johnson might have a
Uh-huh.
chance. So
Did they ultimately say he was cut too? He was released.
I never like got an official word he was released, but he's not on that 53.
Yeah,
So nobody ever said anything. So obviously, but he is released.
I don't know. I mean, this Naeem Hines thing has kind of thrown us for a loop here, as far as the return game go. We thought we were probably as certain as we were when we had Andre Roberts, and
Yeah,
we no longer are at this point in time.
yeah. I mean, there's always the option of um putting somebody on the practice squad and then calling them up a couple times until you figure it out.
Yeah,
Um, I just don't know what the heck we're gonna do with kick returners right now.
I mean you can bring Darian Evans back. Like I said, obviously we won't know what the practice squad players are until they clear waivers. So that would be probably the next 24 to was it 48 hours for waivers, something like that.
I think yeah, by 4,
Yeah,
I think they'll
yeah, give
whoever
about
they'll give
24
all the
hours.
waiver claims out.
Yeah, so we won't know anything then. Like I said, I'm hoping Evans is on the practice squad. And I actually didn't, I didn't actually look to see if Rasheem Blackshear got released from the Panthers. Because obviously this is a guy that
Mm,
we had in camp last year who is a kick returner.
okay.
So, yeah, so Cody says Hardy. Yeah, I mean, I think Hardy's almost all but guaranteed to do punt returns. But kick
Yeah,
returns,
let's not forget y'all. Hardy was a all pro punt returner. So because they asked can he not cut it at punt returner. He's an all pro punt returner. So
right.
remember that's how he got into the league. Dude is an all pro at that. So
But kick
um
returners not kick returner. I think he was solid too, but I don't think the money you're paying him and what you have him for this role in his offense that you want him doing both.
yeah.
So
Nah.
was obviously we talk about the secondary. One guy I was actually happy to see them make this roster. I thought played extremely well during the preseason was the now converted safety Cam Lewis.
Yeah. Cam came up with that in that Chicago game.
Yeah,
He came up with bad intentions, man.
did he?
He came up with picture perfect, textbook tackle, got the ball out. No helmet in the play, no penalty. Man, he's looking really comfortable back there at safety.
Yeah, the biggest thing is obviously this is a guy that's been around the organization for the last few years.
Yeah.
Up and down, doing mop up duty, filling in when there's injuries in the secondary. And I think that they've actually found a home for him at safety now. Now I remember last year when they put him at safety for the Vikings game. Obviously we were down. We were down. I think Poyer. I'm pretty sure we were down Micah and things as such. And Jaquan Johnson was playing with some of the worst football I think I've ever seen at the safety position. And he did not he did not look well. You know what I mean? He looked okay, but it was like you could tell it wasn't natural.
Yep.
I don't get that vibe this time around. I think that he worked at that position and he looked good. He looked really good during the preseason. And this is a guy, like I said, once again, another versatile safety who can cover man to man if you're blitzing or doing different things. So if he does have to play or come in to get called to duty, well, now you have once again another versatile player in that Bills secondary.
Yep. Absolutely. I mean, the more versatility you can get, man, the better. You get a safety out there who's naturally comfortable covering people. I mean, that's just a benefit for the team, right? So you obviously got that with Cam. So you can get him out there in the field. He is forced into duty. Um, I think naturally he's comfortable with tackling, but then you got people coming out that you got to check slots or tight ends. Naturally, with his cover skills, he should be comfortable doing that. So uh, I'm excited for Cam. I think he's deserved it. He's worked for it. He deserved it.
Yeah. On the offensive side of the ball, I mean, obviously, I don't think not many surprises at all.
No,
No, I mean, I think that we knew what the offense was going to be the whole time. And, you only thought about, let's say, okay, you had the right guard battle. You had possibly if the Bills were going to keep a seventh receiver or not. You
and
had
three tight
Carolina.
ends. That was an interesting one too. If were they going to keep three tight ends?
Yeah.
Um, we. I mean, I think they value Quentin Morris too much. Now he's going to be one that's going to have some healthy scratches.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, I think, like I said, I think Quentin Morris is a very solid player. But two, he plays special teams for this team as well.
Yep,
So
absolutely.
there's a lot of special team snaps in there. So Quentin brings a lot of value. He's decent in the run game with blocking. Obviously, we know he can catch in the passing game, and he brings special teams. So, obviously going back a couple of years ago, he's definitely, I would say, an upgrade over what Tommy Sweeney was at the time.
Yep.
So, like I said, I thought overall going into this cut down day, there was only a few spots open on this roster.
Very few.
You could almost name, I would say, probably about 46 out of 53 spots on this roster
Okay.
before camp even began.
I would have to agree with that number.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was somewhere around, it was high, so you knew it wasn't many spots. So let me ask you this question, okay? Being a former player, obviously, even though these guys knew that there weren't many spots open on this Bills roster, why sign here in the preseason?
Because you're a competitor, right?
Okay.
All you want to do is compete. Like there's
Mm-hmm.
like for example, the lineman, Anderson, right? He could have easily said, okay, they got Bates, McGovern, they drafted one, um, has some other people there. But you compete. You never know what can happen, right? You could be that one, that shake up the roster. You could be that one that forced their hand and say, we got to keep this guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Quentin Morris did it. He came on the roster and did it, right? So you can be that one. So with that being said, you going in there, you going to compete. You don't think of, okay, this roster loaded. I'm not going to make it.
Right.
If you come in with that mindset, you might as well quit. You might as well quit. I mean, you're not built for the NFL. NFL is all about competition. Nothing's given to you. You got to come in ready to compete every single day in everything you do. Are you going to study the hardest? Are you going to work the hardest in conditioning? Are you going to lift the hardest? Competition. Compete, compete, compete. So you're not built for that. If you're not about that, you won't last long anyway. So you come in here with an expectation and list. I'm gonna take it one day at a time, and I'll make this decision as tough as possible for them. If I don't make this 53, I'm gonna make this practice squad. And once you're in the practice squad, all it takes is one injury, get that call up. Once you're in the game, it's on.
Let me ask you this question, right? Because I want you to go back to your days with Tampa Bay, right? What is it like going into, I don't know, the final preseason game and then the days leading up,
Cut
and
day
obviously
period.
cut day
Cut
period.
time period. Right.
All right.
The most stressful time in the world. It's the most stressful time you can ever go through.
Mm-hmm.
The NFL is the most stressful job in the world because you never know when it's your last day. Right? A 9 to 5, you get written up, you get the warnings, you understand the policy, right? So, for the most part, if you're doing your job, for the most part, you're not going to be let go. Today, there were 1,000 guys who are elite at their job who were fired. Just let that sink in. There were 1,000 guys who were elite at their job, got fired. Where else can you be elite at your job and just get fired just because, besides like budget cuts or something like that, right? But they were let go. So, and it wasn't based off of performance a lot of times. A lot of times it's based off of numbers. Andy Isabella wasn't cut because of his performance. He was cut because of numbers, right? Big boy Eli, the D tackle, he wasn't cut because of performance. He was cut because of numbers, right? You look at AJ Klein. He wasn't cut because of performance, because of numbers. You look at the corner that we let go, Austin.
Yeah,
He wasn't playing bad. He was cut because of numbers, right? So that itself is like, and then wonder how they're going to do the numbers and what they're going to do is a very stressful thing, right? So that alone is just very stressful. It's like walking on eggshells. They did a video of Cody Ford today waiting on the phone call, and then when 4 o'clock hit, he like take a deep breath, right? Because you made that 53. If you don't make that 53, now you back looking for work, So that's what's tough about the whole thing. Just not knowing what's going to happen. If the worst does happen, where do I go next? And it's not like, if you like go from a local 9 to 5 where you can go put in at other places, right? Just go put an application in and see who's hiring. NFL, they're always hiring and they're always firing. And with that, you can't just walk up to you can't walk to One Bills Drive and say, "Here go my application." It doesn't work that way. Um, so it's a very stressful thing, like not knowing where your life is going to be and what's next. So it's just something sitting in the pit of your stomach until you know what's going on.
Right. Now, I just wanted to ask that question because I think that one of the things that we can give our viewers is your viewpoint from obviously NFL standpoint. That a lot of us can't speak from that viewpoint. We can't speak from that vantage point, um, or what the feelings, what the emotions is. I mean, we look at these guys as just names, and maybe a game like Terrell Shavers means nothing to fans because they knew this guy was going to make the team. But what does that mean to a guy like him, where he felt like maybe he played well in the preseason? Do some guys know that, hey, I'm not going to make this roster, but I'm going to have a chance to show myself? Or do some guys actually think, like, what, I played well in the preseason. Maybe they'll keep me here.
Yeah. Now, what a lot of fans they don't look at the film. They look at the name, right? So, for example, I don't know, Austin Mayfield. Let's look at okay. Let's do a perfect example. Look at Keyshawn Johnson. He just got
Yeah.
released.
Yeah.
If you look at the film, Keyshawn Johnson outplayed Justin Shorter.
Easily.
If you look at the film, he outplayed him. So if it's based off of that, Keyshawn Johnson probably feeling sick right now. Like, dude, I came in, I competed, I played well, I outplayed this guy. He still get the job ahead of me. Those are the things that get you at the professional level. Like fans of No Shorter name, they hear he's strong. They hear he's 6'3", 6'4". He runs a 4, whatever in the 40, and fans automatically think that's the better choice. But when you put on the film, which players look at film, not that everybody don't look at film, but you look at that, Keyshawn Johnson was the better player in the preseason.
No, he was. I thought Keyshawn Johnson had a hell of a preseason. I'm hoping this is a guy that we can get back because if there's injuries or anything like that, this is a guy I definitely look at as valuable. And he's actually played a lot of meaningful snaps in the NFL too, the Cardinals. So, but yeah, I just wanted to get your take on that. I wanted to move on to our next topic of the night. Obviously, the Bills traded Boogie Basham to the New York Giants today. They actually didn't really say what it was for. It was a late round swap, and I know how you feel about this trade. So actually, I'll let you hop right into it. Why was Boogie traded to the New York Giants? So what was your opinion why he was traded in for a
They did announce it, JT.
Did it?
We traded Boogie Basham in the 7th for a 6th-round pick.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah. So before I get into that, what's your take on that after hearing that?
To me, it seems like more like a salary cap dump than anything. Um, I thought Boogie had a fantastic preseason. To be honest with you, I thought he was in shape. I thought he had a fantastic preseason. I thought he showed elite athleticism, and I thought that he had possibly a. So, I thought contract wise, he had a one up on AJ Epinesa because he's under control for the next 2 seasons.
Yep.
But reality, I've been saying on this show for the past couple of weeks, if one was going to be traded, it was going to be Boogie.
Yep.
And just because that's what was the word on the street around One Bills Drive, and outside of One Bills Drive is that the one was that going to get moved was Boogie. So pretty much he was using the preseason to audition for somebody else. I mean, his name has been in trade rumors since before the NFL draft.
Yeah.
We should have known that Boogie was not going to make it out of this preseason with this team. So let me ask you: do you think that's proper compensation for a 2020 second round pick?
No.
Okay.
No, absolutely not. And here's why. I think he brings a lot of value. I think he has I think he's going to be a 10-year pro in this league. He's going to play in this league for about 10 years. And he's going to have real steady production. So what was out there and what was somebody willing to give, I don't know. But I'm kind of upset that we did trade him for that. I think we could have held on to him for that, in my personal opinion. I think he brings a lot to the table. I think he's worked. You could tell he worked his ass off to get to where he is now. Um, I hate to see him go, but it is what it is. Let's see what these guys do. And then reality is, how many snaps will he have got when Vaughn is back healthy? Vaughn, Leonard Floyd, Russo are going to be your dogs. You rolling with them, you know.
Right.
So in actuality, if he was doing the job in the first place, we wouldn't have to go get Vaughn. You know, if AJ was didn't doing the job in the first place, we wouldn't have to go get Vaughn. If
AJ
they both,
included. Yeah.
yep, that's what I'm saying. If AJ is doing his job, and honestly, if both of them was doing their job, like we wouldn't have to go get Leonard Floyd either. So reality is they fell short on expectations in regards to that. But I think he does bring value. I think he's a good football player.
I think he is too, and I think that he offered. And I think I said in the last show, he offers something a little different than what AJ Epinesa can give you. We know what AJ. We know what type of player AJ Epinesa is going to be. I've compared him to a former Bills player plenty of times. That he's a Chris Kelsey.
Yeah.
He's solid. He's going to be decent against the run. He's not necessarily a sack artist. He'll may get you 6, 7 sacks a year. He's just a decent player. But I think that when you talk about the ceiling and the upside, he doesn't touch Boogie Basham. He'll never be the pass. He'll never have the pass moves that Boogie Basham has, and he'll never have the athleticism that Boogie Basham has. But end of the day, the Bills did save $1.1 million in cap space by making the move. So we don't know if that money was brought in to bring in Hermione Ifedi that they signed tonight, right tackle. So it's, I don't know. I mean, I guess that brings me to the next question of, did the Bills hinder his development? And I think that's a very realistic question at this point in time, because when you go back and you look at Boogie Basham, right? And this is something that I actually had a chance to speak with Boogie, I think it was February I got to speak to him. Yeah, it was February. We were in a room, Batavia Downs, we were speaking. And one of the things I asked him, like, how was the development coming along? And he felt like he was definitely more confident going into this season. So if people don't know, I did ask him, I said, hey, what was your weight coming in when you were drafted? First day in Buffalo, what was your weight? He was drafted at 290. And I thought that's what we all assumed, that he was going to be that hybrid. That 3-tech, that was going to be that NASCAR formation on third downs. Could play against the run, but also could be your come off the edge.
Yep.
Well, Buffalo had him lose 20 pounds and had him go down to 270, which reality, there's no way he was going to be able to play that 3-tech ever at 270 pounds.
No, because with that, you're going to lose strength.
Right. So what's weird about it is you did the same thing with AJ Epinesa. So you didn't have plans for either one of those guys to play 3-tech. So if you didn't have the plans to do that, why would you draft both of them?
Yeah.
Unless, and I said this when they took Rousseau, unless they were unsure on Rousseau's development, because he looked like more of a project than Boogie Basham at the time when these two were drafted, okay? Unless you were unsure about Rousseau, and Boogie Basham was always your backup plan in case Rousseau did not become the player you thought he could become. But if that's the case, you don't waste a second round pick on that.
Yeah, no, and the way they probably look at it, only reason why I respect it is if that's what your board tells you and your evaluation told you, take them, right? And if Rousseau works out and he bought a baller like we think, honestly, I don't want to sound crazy when I say this, but does it matter? Right. You got your DN in that draft, because a good draft is you hit on 3 players. That's a good draft. And then a couple rotational guys. That's an amazing draft. If you hit on 3 players, that's a great draft. To be honest with you, what Brown they going to me doesn't really matter. But if you hit on 3 players in your draft, that's a damn good draft. And I think that's the mindset they probably going. They probably don't think rounds. They think about hitting on those guys. I'm pretty confident saying they probably look at it that way as well.
Well, I just want to take a look back at that, because actually what you said, it just brought a good point up. So if you go back and you look at that 2021 Bills draft, right? You had Greg Rousseau in the first round, Boogie Basham in the second round. Greg is a hit. Boogie
Yeah.
obviously is not a hit. Spencer Brown, this season will tell you right now if he's a hit or not.
I'll tell you
Tommy,
this. I'm gonna put it this: if you get 2 years, this will be his third year as a starting tackle.
uh,
I don't think you could be mad with that. If you go into a draft to say this guy is he's gonna start for us for 3 seasons, I will have to say that's a hit.
yeah, but I counter how many years did Jordan Mills start here?
We didn't draft him
I,
though.
I hear you. I hear you, but I'm just
I get it. He was terrible,
yeah.
terrible. And you're gonna try to give me nightmares. But I mean, I don't think he's been a terrible starting right tackle in my opinion.
I don't think he's been
I'm a Spencer Brown fan.
He hasn't been the absolute worst. He hasn't been the greatest either. I think, but this year's a make or break for him. So Tommy Doyle went in the fifth. I think Tommy was a solid backup. He's injured out for season now this year. Marquez Stevenson, and then you got DeMar Hamlin. So if you want to say that, I'll give you the Spencer Brown hit for now. Okay, so Rousseau would be a hit. Spencer Brown would be a hit. DeMar Hamlin in the sixth round is definitely a hit. So there's your three for your draft class. Okay.
And Stevenson still playing. So even though he's not with us,
Right.
he's still around.
And I tell you, I'll even go back to the 2020 draft, and we're gonna play this game. Okay.
Yeah.
Zach Moss obviously is not a hit for Buffalo. AJ Epinesa is a hit. Gabriel Davis is a hit. Tyler Bass is a hit. Isaiah Hodgins is not in Buffalo, but he's a hit. And Dane Jackson was a hit. So actually, 5 out of 7 picks in that draft were hits. So once again,
You can't consider, and people get caught up in the rounds. Oh, it's a second round pick wasted. But if you hit on 3 other picks, what does it matter? Like when they get there, it's not like you don't wear a round. Oh, I was drafted in the second round chain or something on your jersey. It just matters who can play football at that draft. People get too caught up in that stuff. Way too caught up in that.
right. So it brings me back to my point about Boogie Basham, and I guess how much do you think? Do you think that McDermott and company hinder his development? Do you think they should have ever tried to change his body type? And if they had no plans for him playing 3 tech, should they have drafted him in the first place?
Yeah, I think they did hinder it,
Yeah.
but they probably thought they was getting something a little bit different when they got him. To be fair and be honest, so I just don't think it worked out. It just wasn't the relationship they expected, right? I think everybody probably look at a girl, oh man, she just and the third. Start dating her, and it's like, well, she's not bad, but it's just not my flavor, my cup of tea, so to say. She's cool, like her, but not somebody I'm going to marry. So we both could just cut ties and go our separate ways. That don't mean that it was a complete failure. It just wasn't. It didn't work both sides for both sides. So
You think we gave up too early on him?
I do. I do. Me personally, I do. I do. But if you feel you can cut losses now, you got a plan in the future, and you're like, hey, give us a 6th round pick. I can live with that. But it's not like we're getting rid of him and we don't got guys that can play. It'd be different if we were thin there and you traded him, right? When you're talking about Russo, Von Miller, AJ still there, and then you go with Leonard Floyd. I mean, if you're gonna do it, now is the time.
I mean, like I said, I have to go back to your point where Greg Rousseau, Leonard Floyd, Von Miller.
Yeah.
Those are the names that make the most sense. Everybody else is just an added bonus and a rotational piece.
Yep.
You're just taking snaps to get these guys breathers as long as they're healthy. If the playoff time hit and they're healthy, you're probably not seeing some of these other guys come in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So, end of the day, is it the end of the world? Not really. Do we think that it could be conducted a little bit differently? Yeah, I think it should have been conducted differently if I had my choice. and this is nothing against AJ Epinesa, just because of the contractual situation and the controllable contract that Boogie Basham had compared to Epinesa, Epinesa would have been the one that I would have moved. Um, and that's partly due to, I think AJ Epinesa has been a solid pro, and to this point, a better pro than Boogie Basham, and he's also been given more opportunities. But if he hits the open market, there's going to be some team that's going to pay him to become a starter. At this
Yeah.
point, from what he's shown on film already, in his 3 years, again, this will be the fourth year for AJ Epinesa. For what he's shown, there's a team that will sign him and make him a starter.
But if you look at what the Bills are going to do, so for 2024, you're anticipating. So you're gonna have Kingsley back, right?
Mm-hmm.
You'll have that as a backup. I'm talking about. Obviously, we know it's going to be Vaughn and Russo as the starters. Kingsley back. So there's three, right? They're going to go draft a guy. They're going to draft somebody. Fourth, fifth round, they're going to draft somebody. And then you can go get a middle of the pack free agent to bring in. You know they'll probably give Shaq another 1 year opportunity if he doesn't blow it out the water this year. You're going to have guys. So I don't think that's going to be difficult. You're going to have guys. So I think they'll be.
Well, to be honest with you, I mean, if they want to, and I think that, I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves. We don't know what this season's going to turn out. We don't know who's going to do what. We don't know what next year's free agency is going to happen, or what's going to happen. If they want next year, a DN in the first round could make sense if they really want to go that route. Like I said, I don't want to get too far ahead and talk about draft stuff for next year, but just looking at the controllable contracts and how Von Miller's contracts lines up, when Greg Rousseau's going to get paid, it actually may make sense to take one extremely high.
Yeah. I could see second or third, not first, but I definitely could see a D tackle or a receiver going first round.
I know a lot of people are asking us too about the comment on the Hermane Fetty signing today. So Cody Wells asked, and like somebody else asked earlier, I'm going to go up and find your question as well. Does the signing at today, offensive tackle signing today, indicate that they're losing faith in Spencer Brown, or was it just running thin at depth? James, I'll let you answer it first. I personally think it's depth, but you go ahead.
I definitely think it's depth. When they came out and they supported Spencer Brown publicly, that was a wrap right there. I got very excited when JT started talking that Jason Peters thing. I would have loved to see Jason Peters at our right tackle. I'm not going to lie to you, but yeah, I just think that's depth. I don't see him being a starter. I mean, you want to have that depth where a guy who's played 80 plus games in the league, if God forbid, starting tackle go down, you don't want a mystery. You want a guy who's been there, somebody that knows the flow. They ready to go.
And obviously, if Eddie, once again, one of those linemen that can play outside, can play inside. He actually has a lot of experience at right guard as well. So, as we know how much Sean McDermott loves linemen that can play 1 to 2 or perhaps 3 positions. So, like I said, it's the depth signing. Obviously, I don't think they anticipated Brandon Shell. And listening to Brandon Bean's press conference of the day when he's kind of spoke on Shell a little bit, obviously it caught them off guard. I think this is a guy that they had guaranteed on this 53-man roster. I know we were talking about that the other week, and I'm like, well, maybe he retired because maybe he was going to make this roster. But the way Brandon Bean was speaking of that, it seemed like he was a lock to make it. So obviously, Fetty coming in. Like I said, it's a depth piece. Another guy who got cut today was Bobby Hart.
I did see that.
That's another guy that you could bring back in the fold. I know Bills fans dislike Bobby Hart very much, but I will say this. Bobby, the last 2 seasons, did pretty decent for us. I think that one preseason when we put him at left tackle, that's not the spot for him. But
he played well last year.
Yeah. So this would be another guy that maybe you could look for a practice squad spot if they want somebody that they're more familiar with. Trying to think if there's anything else. Let me go to some of these comments. Eric Humphrey says that Boogie fits a 3-4 defense. When we drafted him, it was kind of not the normal DN that we had been drafting at 280 pounds. He's correct, and like I said, it brings back to the point AJ Epinesa, who I think when we drafted him, he was around like 280, 285.
Yeah.
And they had him slash weight as well. Let's see. Roy Collins asked, Wonder if the Giants, well, more of a comment and a question. Wonder if the Giants gave us the best offer for Basham? If so, that should tell you what other teams thought of him. James, I mean, do you think that the Bills even? They said they had other offers. Do you think the Giants' offer was the best?
No.
No,
Think about this. If New England offer you a fourth,
no,
you're not giving them to them, right?
no,
If Cincinnati offers you a fourth or fifth, what do you do?
no
No,
trade.
you're gonna send them to the NFC. Somebody that's not an immediate threat. So you don't always take the best offer. You got to move smart. You got to move smart because that can come back to bite you. You know. So
And you're sending them to your buddies over there, and Joe
yep.
Schoen and Brian Dable. What you call that deal?
You owe me.
You owe me deal. Yeah.
You owe me, deal.
So other than that, man, I mean, what do you see coming down the pipe here? Do you think we're gonna get another kick returner? I know I want to ask the question: is there any free agents that you saw that are available that you think the team should be interested in?
Um, for me, we got to get somebody to be able to return kicks. Let's not forget, Naeem Hines won us a game last year returning kicks.
No, New England.
So yes, we cannot take that for granted. So I think they will address that some way, somehow. And also, yo, JT, man, you be talking that talk, man. You need to
Yeah.
pull them receipts. Kingsley. And also another name I wouldn't mind. A lot of people down on him. I think he'll fit really good at the mic here. Jalen Smith. He just got
Yeah.
released today by New Orleans.
New Orleans,
I
yeah.
think he'll be a really good middle linebacker here.
There's a couple more middle linebackers available too. Obviously Christian Kirksey. That's the guy I
Yep.
was saying about the other week.
Yeah,
Deion
so I said,
Jones.
yeah, hey, that's what I said. Them receipts, man. Pull them
Yeah.
receipts, JT.
Yeah, I mean Kirksey's available right now. Deion Jones got cut by the Panthers. He actually looked pretty good. And then, like you said, Jalen Smith is out there. I read that Devin Bush from the Seahawks that they're looking for a trade partner. If not, they're probably going to cut him. So there's middle linebackers out there available. But I think that if the Bills don't make a move at that specific spot, that tells you what they believe about Terrell Bernard. And I know our guy Mike Back has been on this Terrell Bernard kick since the summer, saying Bernard's the guy, Bernard's the guy, Bernard's the guy. If they're not making a move, then Mike may be 100% correct on that, and Bernard is going to be the guy. And for what we heard before we got to the preseason game, unfortunately he pulled his hammy. He was showing out a little bit. They said. Obviously, you can't believe all the reports because everything out of camp is great, right?
Yep.
But he was showing out pretty well. So it's going to be interesting. I'm more worried about the kick return position right now.
Very, very concerned.
You know. And as you always say, no one cares about special teams until it costs you a game. So
Yep.
it's gonna be interesting to see, man. It's gonna be interesting to see. But as far as that, I mean, that's another Bills cut day. It's done. It's over. I think there's a couple of moves to be made once these waiver claims go through. We'll see who's back on the practice squad. We'll see if more people are injured and put on IR for the year. They'll open up spots that way. So it's going to be very interesting overall. I think not many surprises for
No.
the Bills and not many surprises for the Bills in 2023 cut day. Other than that, you got any final words, man? We got here.
No, I just want to look out to see the signings we make. It Bills fans, please don't have the guy coming in starting day one expectations for anything the Bills do. Because they're going to have to get acclimated to things and be able to get comfortable. So it's a process. It's a process. So, but I think we're in a good place. I'm excited.
Oh, I got a question for you before we take off. Someone asked, and I saw it earlier about number 2 quarterback spot. Let me see if I can pull it up. Do you think we're good with Kyle Allen, rolling with Kyle Allen?
I do, because we got to be. Nobody else know the system.
Yeah. I'm okay with it. Like I said, at the end of the day, man, like Mitch Trubisky was probably the best number 2 quarterback we were going to have. And A, that's because he's a fringe starter in this league. B, that's actually very expensive. He was expensive to have. Well, he was inexpensive, but now he would have been very special. I think Pittsburgh didn't pay him like $9 million a year or something like that.
Yep.
Stay over there. That's expensive to have. So it was Eric Humphrey asked that question about the backup quarterback. And to be honest with you, listen, it's no different than last season. I like Kyle Allen. You know, I know there's names out there like Colt McCoy, like Will Greer, these names like that. But let me say this, okay? Knock on wood. If Josh Allen goes down for an extended time period or something where he's not going to be available for a long stretch or a playoff run, something like that, listen, I don't care who you throw in there. You could throw Frank Wright in there, the right one, baby. This season is over.
Yeah.
Okay? There's certain guys you can't. There's about 3 or 4 quarterbacks in this league that no matter what you do, you cannot replace them. That's Josh Allen. That's Patrick Mahomes. That's Joe Burrow. And I feel like I'm missing one. Lamar. And actually, you couldn't even replace Lamar Jackson. Okay?
No, they couldn't.
Those guys you cannot replace. You cannot emulate what they do on a football field. And there's not enough play calling to replicate it. So if something happens like that, it's over.
Yep.
So like I said, that's it, man. Like Mike Beck says, if Allen goes down, we enter the Marvin Harrison Jr. sweep. So absolutely. Absolutely. Okay.
I honestly I don't think we'd be that bad, but I mean, like you said, the Super Bowl expectations is a wrap.
It's over. And the Super Bowl bust said it 2 years ago. From this point out, it was Super Bowl or bust. That's what we're looking at. So, like I said, knock on wood. I just think that sometimes we put a little bit too much emphasis on backup quarterback. Because the guy we have can't be replicated. I don't know about some of the other franchises around this league. But number 17, nah, there's no replication for him. If there was, he wouldn't be on this Madden cover. Just saying. You know. Just saying.
You're right. You're right.
Well, man, other than that, stay tuned. We're going to be doing some promos for our friends over there at the Fans of Buffalo and our people at Visions Consulting in the next couple of weeks, giving some information about the Fans of Buffalo DC takeover. So if you guys aren't aware, obviously the Fans of Buffalo is a huge travel group. Will Bradley does do a hell of a job. And they're going to be throwing a DC takeover as they do in most other cities. So far announced, if you guys have not been paying attention, we're going to be putting on the show moving forward. Aaron Williams is going to be there on Friday night, Saturday night as well. Eric Modes, Eric Wood, and Lee Evans. That's who they have. You never know who else may show up, but those guys are confirmed going to be there. So if you can take a trip down to DC, I know I'll be there. I'm pretty sure, James, I think you're going to be there for at least a night, probably, right?
That's the goal. I'm trying to finagle some things now to be able to fly in, fly out. So that's the plan.
Since your Buffalo season has started, so we get you in and out, you know. So but other than that, so we'll be releasing some more information on that. I'll be putting it in the chat and stuff like that, so you guys can look at it in the near future. But it's going to be a hell of a trip. It's going to be fun. And then, too, you know, if you've never been to DC, it'll be a great time to go down there. You could travel. You see other Bills fans. You could see a game. But it's going to be an area where you can actually sightsee, too, while you're down there. So, and obviously the weather is not terrible. It's going to be September. It should be nice weather. Maybe not too hot. Maybe not too cold. So maybe just perfect. But hopefully we can do that. But I will be releasing more information on that. I know I will be there. I'll be booking all my stuff this week. I've been procrastinating on that. But other than that, just want to say thank you guys for tuning in. And to all the players who were released today and may never see another down in NFL, that does not mean that they're not NFL players. Once you hit that field for one practice, one training camp, one anything, one tryout, you are an NFL player. Period. Point blank, period. Doesn't matter. I don't care if you only got 2-3 preseason games. You are an NFL player. You made it to the top of the top. You competed against the best of the best. You went against practice against the best of the best. That's it. You're an NFL player. So, just saying, congratulations to those guys who did make it. And also congratulations to those guys who did not make it as well. Because you did make it a lot further than you're an elite. You're elite talent. So,
You're the best
Other
of
than
the
that,
best.
best of the best. Other than that, I want to sign off with that tonight. We should be back probably we'll most likely be back next Tuesday again.
Yep.
I'll confirm it, but just stay tuned for the notifications, and please do us a favor. Follow us on our Instagram tags are at the top here. To mine's right there. The real JTM underscore JMall2. Follow us on Instagram. We're gonna do more and more content, more things we'll be doing, more recorded content as well. Make sure you follow us our Spotify. Make sure you follow us our YouTube and follow our Facebook page, and we'll be promoting like crazy. So, other than that, guys, thank you for tuning in. This is nothing personal, just Buffalo, and it is brought to you by Checkers, via the Cold Front Report. We will catch you guys later. Peace.
Peace.